Okay, we're on page Reisha and Gimel. And Reisha and Gimel we're going over the ends of the different tikkunim of the Rosh. He says a tren nukvin de perdashka. That's the next one. So these are two nostrils. Hatikun the shishi v'chashavihi heim shnei nikah v'chashechel chaytim erik anpen. So the two nostrils hanikra pardashka. Now this interesting word. Ki pardashka hu amud. It means it's tzinor. Chalu batuch kedugma sachaitim, similar to the nose. So the nose is really okay. They're two different tikkunim. Ki beneged echad shalachaitim nimshach bebechinas chaim, beneged the sheni nimshach bechinas chaim dechaim. So okay. V'shorish achilach shel shnei nekavim elo. So the root of the difference between these two nekavim, ki bechaitim erik anpen. Mislavish Yisod Shel Reisha Delo Yis Isyada. This is, I guess he wants to say that Yisod is a place of pouring out. So therefore, that's where this found is the Yisod. They're going through all of these things are very nice. As Yisod Shel Reisha Delo Isyada, Ubo Nichlal Gam Ataras Yisod the Reisha Delo Isyada. So you also get both of them. You get the Ataras Yisod too, which is ultimately will be a Malchus. But the chain came shnei nekavim yam in the small. He's going to say, if I remember this, he's going to say something different about Malchus. I think it's here. Ki bechem mislavshim yisod v'latara. So there's where you see the yisod and the yatara is in the nose. Ha yisod and niskarim. So he says ha yisod and niskarim. He said the haidach benekev yamin mislavish ha yisod. Of a neck is small, mislavish ataras yisod. So the more female aspect is in the left nostril. What we see later is going to be the more female. The mishamshem shnei nekavim elu shnei inyanim shonim. So they're really working on different things. Ki beneked echod nimshach chayim, beneked echod nimshach chayim dechaim. One is a chayim and one has a chayim dechaim. B'shum kach gam shnei nekavim heim shnei Tikunim nifradim kamor. So it sounds like it's number 6 and 7. Because our ruach, and then there is a ruach that is awakened for all of them. Now, what does that mean? Shnei tikunim elu. So he says these through tikunim. Hu ki min shnei nikve hachotim is order v'yotze ruach shuhu nishmas chaim l'kol. So he says from these two come out the concept of Chaim. That is really what we call life, which is the neshama, the panemius of everything, of all life. Ki ruach echad, because one ruach, yotze v'nimsha b'bechinas yisod, those zer anpen. Ki ha-yisod hu klalos bechinas zer anpen. Now that phrase, I'm not sure what that meant. He said the concept, I've retranslated, the concept of yisod is the overall incorporation of Zeranpin. V'ruach echad, so ruach goes with the word Zeranpin, I don't know, v'ruach echad yotze v'nimshach b'bechinas ataris yisod the nukva, so one of them is destined, that is this ruach chaim, is going to go to male, one to female. Ki ataris yisod hi b'bechinas amalchus, this is Lashon Nog. Even though we understand ki ha'choitim kolu min yisod v'chataras yisod, let's just understand the nose has two, the two. Im kol zecha v'nikra ha'choitim rak al shem ha'yisod. But even so, in other words, there could be a yisod, nataras yisod, but it doesn't say that. Just call by the name yisod. Mishum v'chataras yisod dechlalas yachad yisod. This important idea. They all go together. Are they actually part? The female aspect is a part of the male aspect, but the kachagam yeshno harbe devarim shahachotim daim bechem el yisod. So there's lots of different things that you have a similarity between this and yisod. Now we're going into something different. And it says Bereshis bara Elokim es hashemayim v'es haaretz. So he counts them up. He's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. Okay, so the 7 words there. He says, "Hine b'pasuk zeh yesh shiva tevos," 7 words. Shehem sod shiva malachim arishonim. This is the secret of the 7 malach. First, masham shenishbro b'olam hatohu, that have been broken way back in the olam hatohu. Shita b'shisha tevos elu. So 6 of these words. Shita, 6 of these words, and here they are: bara Elokim es hashemayim v'es haaretz. Those 6 words. Heim sod shisha malachim achronim min malachim nizkarim. So these are the secret. These words, again, the words are, where is it? Bara. Bara, this word without the word Bereshis. Bara Elokim es Shemayim v'Haaretz. So this is the secret of the six malachim, the first six malachim that died. Shehem Sheish Sfiras Chesed Gevurah Tiferes Netzach Hod and Yisod. Okay, those are the six spheros, the regular spheros as they're anpin. Now, just 1 second. Hey, so Shisha Malachim. Okay, then the Shisha Malachim, which is the basis of the first six spheros, of the last six spheros. Both and Zeh. He said the word the word bara goes with the word chesed. The word Elokim goes with the word Gevurah. The word Ace, he pronounced it Ace, hu Tiferes. V'teves Shemayim hu Natzach, v'teves ve'es again hu Hod, v'teves Haaretz hu Yisod v'Ataras. Yisod is those two going together. Now he said Bereshis. It's like the word Bereshis, which wasn't part of those six. V'teves Rishon Bereshis, he's so Sfiras Bina. This means that it's coming out from this place, Bina, which is also called Bereshis. Why is it called Bereshis? So Shehi Sod HaMelech HaRishon Shehi Das. Because Bina is the secret of Das, now of the first king, who is the Melech HaDas. Ki HaDas Ganos B'mei Abina. Now this is like, I'm not sure how to understand this. He says, but I'll just read it. He says, Si HaDas Ganos B'mei Abina. So the Das is hidden inside of the womb of Ima. And therefore, so apparently he's making it sound like it's like a koach. It's a koach inside of Bina that makes it possible, mispashetes, and so therefore the Bina causes the spreading of Sfiras Besod Das through the Das. That's how they're built. Barashis, so that is created the six. L'kain, so therefore, Tevis Bereshis, where is that word? Anachlach l'shnei Tevos kach. It divided into two of these words. We see this in Tikkun Zohar, where he says a barashis, that he created six. So he said bina bara eshis. It created the other six using das. That's about what I would translate that upper part of this column. He said bara eshis, that is six, has spheres alaiku, so that the spheres. Alaychu v'spheres abina. So on top of this, the spheres abina aleichu lamala min sheish spheres, which is up above the six, or panimi to the other six. Ki bina hi hakaser shall call the sheish spheres. Now here's the coining of a word. He says that if you wanted to know the six spheres by itself, the keser of those six spheres, in other words, the origin of all of the energy that's coming into them, is bina. And he's using the word keser to describe it. The Kolelas that's called the Sheish Spheros, it has within it, that keser, all of the six spheros of Mishpashetis, Bechem Bebechinas Rashis Agilu, which is the beginning of the revelation of what's inside of Bina, which is Zeranpin and Nuk. So he said, what? It corresponds, this one place, corresponds to all up above. I'm not sure how to translate this. He says, V'hine keneged kol zeh. Kol zeh what? He says that the Bina with Das with inside of it and the other six spheros, he says, Hu lamala b'sheva tikuni gegulta de Erik Anpin. Actually, they have an origin in the seven tikkunim of the Dikna of Erik Anpin. Sha'al Yadam, because through these tikkunim, 1 second. For through these Tishul Nimshach, it's extended down a tikkun to the Sheva Malach and Nizkarim. This is where the source of the flow through Erik Anpin, and then 7, he said the tikkunim of the Gugolta of Erik Anpin, coming it's with the relationship they wound up manifest in Bina and then giving birth. Ki habina shehi bebechinas das. Now he says Bina is the aspect of das. I could have a little trouble with that. But at any rate, that's what he says. Ki habina shehi bebechinas das. He connected the Tika the Rishon Gulgalta. This, so now he's going to go through this. So he says the word, the Bina itself, and he says that which is manifest or has within it the Bechina of Das. He connected the Tika the Rishon Gulgalta. Of course, it refers to the first Tikkun. So this tikkun is higher than all of the other tikkunim. It's panimi to them. Maybe it's metaphor. He's trying to say it's analogized to Bina. Tikkun Arishon Golgalta, that's a kolo besocho kol shisha tikkunim. It has all the rest of them in it once again. Okay, we'll hold for a second. Okay, back to that again. He says, Ki tikkun arishon gulgolta. So let's start the first tikkun in the head. Kolo besocho kol shisha tikkunim. All of the rest of tikkunim are there. So therefore, Bina is clothed inside of this first tikkun, shel reish lo isida, which is a gulgolta. Now the other 6 tikkunim, the first one is the kruma, the vira. The second one is amanake, nake. The next one is the number 3 is Rava de Rava. Number 4 is Ashgacha Bekicha. Number Hey and Vav are Trey Paul Gegufa. I'm wrong. There's a Nukvin de Bardashka that referred to the nostrils of the nose of Islavshim, Shishus, Spheres, Chesed, Gevur, Teferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Reish, Lolo, Isyada. So in all of these places, there is one of the Hislavshus of the origins of what is going to be manifest in the 6 spheres of Zer Anpin. But corresponding that there were 7 names of this word of the which shall pasuk Bereshis that begins with Bereshis. But often zeh. Now he's going to go through a count again. He said Bereshis tikkun gugolto. So Bereshis really refers to the tikkun of the skull. Ubo mislavish bina, and inside of that there is a bina shehi bechinas das, which is the beginning of das. Now we're hearing this. And I don't know the relationship between those two, exactly how that will work. I understand that Bina, there has to be a Das in there because Das is what spreads. So he says that the koich, the spreading. But he says it's mislavish Bina, shehiba bechinas Das, which is the power to be able to produce these children. And mischalak shnei tevos barashis. And this is the concept is that Bina creates the other 6. Who kolulas called the shisha tikkun. Not that it creates it, but it has it within it. Bara kruma the Ravira. So the word bara goes with the kruma de Ravira, which is just inside of the Gogolta. Ubomis lavish chesed ha'elyon, and that's where you see the chesed, which is coming from Atik Yamim, is mislavish there. Asher bo maluvish Ravira delom itbis. This is where there's kind of the Gon said before, there's an air inside of an air. So here you say in this place in the second tikkun, is the untouchable, ungraspable, air. V'tevis Elokim. Now the word Elokim ku nekei. So then it's clean wool. Ubom nislevish gevura elyon, and this is where you see the upper gevura. So he said v'tevis eis. He says who Rabba the Rabbin. It's the ultimate exception, acceptance. Ubo mislavish teferes elyon, and inside of that is the upper teferes coming from Atek. V'teves hashemayim ku ashgacha bekicha. So it's the open eyes. The ha'idach be'anayim be'bechem mislavish netzach and hod, and you have 2 eyes. You have netzach and hod going together there. Elyonim. In other words, from the origins, and this is really coming from the Reisha Lo Isida. V'teves ve'es hu nekev yamin de partashka. So the word ace is really referring to the opening of in the nose of bebo mislavish yisod the elyon, and there the yisod of Atik is mislavish. V'teves haaretz hu nekev small de partashka. It is actually the left nostril of the nose. Bebo mislavish malchus. That's where you find malchus there, which is also another word for a teres yisod elyon. So as the Torah begins, so it starts with these 7 pesukim. And this is to tell you that at the very beginning of the Bereshis, he says this is the beginning of the development of Olam Atzilus. Which is its origin is in the 7 Tikkuni Gegolta of Erik Anpin, which have an origin Shehem Barosh, parts of Erik Anpin, Shehu Rosh Atzilus, which is the beginning of Atzilus, or the Yeah, the Pedemius of Itzilus, of Ak, im calls that over, but even with all of this, Kuhul Lasata, Call Iker shall Shevet Table shall Pasa Bereshis. So, but he says the root, all the roots of the seven were the 77 tikkunim in the Resh that are Tavis shall Pasa Bereshis. These 7 tikkunim, Haim Lamata B'Shevet Sefer shall Zer Anpin. They also manifest there. They're seen over there in the 7 tachtonas of Zer Anpin. So Bina, that is Tavuna, here in this case we'll be talking about Tavuna, Mispasha B'Zer Mispashetes, that spreads into Zer Anpin. He says, Ukafi Shehiz Boil Ale, so he explained it, he said previously, below Lamala parts of Eric Anpin. So I guess what he said is that if you wanted to see these, you won't see them there. Shaharega parts of Eric Anpin, lo nizke before called the Torah. So in other words, it's behind the Torah. The Torah is up in front, and it's somewhere in the back there. You can't see it. But he wants to say like this: Amnam tikunim shal sheva malach dezer anpin. So let's put these two together. Ubina. So he says that using them all together because bina now he's saying is the same thing as das, something like that. If you're talking about bina as manifest in the das, it's like a mother who has a servant. And the servant are a twin, I don't know what, and the twin goes down into the 7, and the mother is still the mother, but she has a twin or a second side to herself, called Das. So let me go back. Vitalian b'sheva de Gugolta. Amnam de kulim shal sheva malach and the zer anpin ubina, so he puts zer anpin and bina in there. Tuluyim mikoyach sheva tikuni Gugolta de rosh erik anpin, so that they're really hanging down, hanging not quite the best word, but they're attached to it and come down from there. Tikuni Gugolta to Rosh Erik Anpin. Asher bechem mislavshem sheves sefiras tachtonu shal reish lo isyada, because in them you see the 7 lower spheres of the reish lo isyada is mislavish inside of the 7 tikkunim of the Rosh of Erik Anpin, and ultimately, though not seen there. They're manifest only when you see them in Zer Anpin. V'lekach hischilo ha'teirach as parshas Bereshis. So now we want to tell you that there's this Bereshis out there. B'sheva malachim halalu, and these 7 malachim. Kedei lirmoz al ataliyasim. It's to tell you how they are attached, going back to the origins. Lirmoz al taliyasim b'shoshin shal eila hamalachim. Lamala b'shevet tikuni Gugolta, over there in the 7 tikuni of the Gugolta of Erik Anpin, of the Rosh of Erik Anpin, shehu reishis atzilus, which is the beginning point of Atzilus. V'omar Odin says further, Dad Yakira de Kirusa. Let's get this word Yakira de Kirusa because he's translating it and he calls a kavod a kavod. So he said his pashtus elach hashevet tikuni Gugolta, that as they are spreading and they're moving downwards, Nemshechas rak ad makom hadikna anikra yakira de Kirusa. So he says, this, his pashtus is coming out of the Gugolta. It only goes as far as the beard of Erik Anpin, which is called the kavod shebekavod. But in the place of the dikna itself, yesh tikunim acherim, is a whole different set, as we understand it. Acherim shehem shlosha asa tikuni dikna, which is the 13 tikunim of the dikna. V'heiner mazin b'shlosh esrei tevos shel pasuk sheni the parshas Bereshis min tevos choyset tohu ve'elech ukamo sheyiz boyer. Now this is very interesting what the Gaon does here. What they're saying. So let's go on, and now we're in a new place, and it says v'ha'aretz. Let's take the word v'ha'aretz. Ha'aretz, we know in every place in the Zohar it refers to the nukva, so to malchus. So ha'aretz tinyana tevas ha'aretz hasheni. But there's a second word, ha'aretz. Shal parshas Bereshis, shal pasuk hasheni v'ha'aretz chaysa tohu avo. So it brings up the word ha'aretz again. La b'chushban, but this is not part of the count. In a nimnes b'cheshban ha'tevos shal pasuk harishon haromezes the sheva malacha shemesu. So let me just get this right, because my mind has started working ahead. I'm sorry. Eina nimnes becheshbon atevos. It's not counted in the count of the words. Shall a pasuk of rishon. So it's something outside of it. The sheva malacha shemesu. where we were talking about the 7 malachim that died in the Saknim, which are really, as we understand, they hang down from, are attached to this seven gegulta of the Galta. We just went through that. Ki tevis haaretz, because this tevis haaretz shechol b'chapasuk hasheni, ain't beklal tevis haaretz b'shebesof pasuk rishon. So he says that this haaretz, let's say it's love, it's a nukvedika lashon. So therefore, it should be refer to the same thing, but he says it doesn't. He says it's not the same one as the haaretz that we have in the first sentence. But Inyan, who is like this, ki shtei tevus elu ramazu the shtei bebechina shonas. They're different aspects. Ki tevus haaretz shebesof pasuk rishon. Let's talk about that one. The first word haaretz is in the first pasuk. Romezes the melech hashvi, refers to the seventh king. Ha'oila detikun shuhu yisod. That really comes up to be musukin in the Muchas Timah of Eric Anpen, and it is concept of yisod. That's number 7, because we start with bina. That in that one also you have a 7th melech, which is an 8th melech, which who ataras yisod, which is the extension of the yisod. The Haida Bebechid of Malchus, the Guf Zer Anpens, and this, in fact, the Taras Yisod is the Malchus, the female aspect of the body of Zer Anpen. So there's a 6 spheros, let's say, that are male, and one spherot which receives them, that's Malchus, which is also called the Taras Yisod. But now we're going to the second one. That's what the first one meant. We're happy with that. I'm happy with that. It's really talking about Malchus itself, not as a part of the Yesod, but as Malchus as an individual entity. And I think this is one of the places that I am most curious about. The Haida Bebechina's Nukva Ikris. He says now he's saying there's another concept here. There's an ikr of the concept of nukvakite. That's what I'm going to call it, nukvakite. Ha'ikris. This is the root. Nukva. Shehi parts of Bifnei Atzma. Now, this is very interesting, because this is like the Sulam, a little bit. The Sulam says that the definition of Kabbalah is the Ratzon, the Kabel. He says you focus on what that Ratzon is to be able to receive Shefa, and then you understand what Malchus is. So he says the Nukva Ikri Shehi parts of Bifnei Atzma, which is a parts by itself. So it's not part of that Aharetz that was mentioned, over which was the Yataras Yisod, which was mentioned in the first pasuk. So it's not part. This Malchus apparently existed. That's why I understand it. Prior to the breaking, or prior, or through, or independent. I guess that's the word, independent of what's happening to the Malachim. It isn't part of that. They're not coming back up, because Yisod is the bottom of that, bringing up the Tzod and the Yataras Yisod and so on and so forth. For Idman says like this: we're out already. Wow, what an exciting place. Okay, call Tuva. I'm so sorry that took me so long to get together. See you. What time next week? 5:45. Okay, bye.
Well, but not Sunday.
Not Sunday. Not Sunday. What's
I can wake up an hour earlier.
Yeah, that's okay.
Monday will be regular time, yeah.
So what's going to happen Sunday?
No, Sunday will skip, because I'm going to lose on both ends.
Okay, no problem. Okay, call Tuva. Okay.